if I would give any advice to a young mom, I would say try to keep your fingers in your passion, whatever, and your passion can change. It may not be what you went first into school with. Maybe doing something like volunteer work. You may see, gosh, this could be a new career path for me. So that's my advice to young moms out there is try to stay in the game a little bit. I think it's hard for us to be super women. I think we try to be super women, and we tend to put everything on our shoulders. And that leads to a lot of stress. I mean, that's another thing that I'm really concentrating on with my health coaching programs is developing a stress mastery program, which really talks about we can't just manage our stress. We need to learn how to master it. So when we're kind of getting that stress feelings, we know, well, okay, what can I do about this? Can I just do 5 minutes of meditation? Can I do some deep breathing? Do I need to go for a walk outside? Do I need to have my kids, play quietly with a puzzle for a few minutes or on a game or whatever, and then regroup? Moms need some quiet time. We need some self-care. And it's hard to find that. But I think that my advice to moms would be, really think about what your priorities are and that you can't do everything, but kind of see what you can handle and see, you got to kind of look at your future a little bit. What is my life going to look like when my kids are more independent? I think, like I said, I really considered being a mom was a full-time job. I mean, it was, there's no argument there. But then when my daughter went to college, it was almost like I was laid off. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. I was going to ask you, did you have that in mind when you were stay-at-home mom? You were like, okay, one day I'll go back to something? Or was it more like, oh, it's happening now and you're not really prepared for that? How was that?
Yeah, when my daughter was a senior in high school, it was like, it was hitting me. It was like, okay, she's going to be gone in 12 months. What am I going to do? And even with my volunteer work, it was always something that I'm passionate about. I have a very strong desire to help repair the world in any way that I can. So I just started thinking, okay, what can I do? And I actually considered something in the travel industry for a while, because of course I love traveling, and my family, we love going to Disney. So I was actually looking at some kind of like a Disney planning, travel agency. And my other passion was health. And, I always say I was the person in the checkout aisle that would look at those magazines that would say, lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And I would read them. And it doesn't work. So I was very, I wanted to kind of educate myself on being healthier and wellness. There's much more to our health than just weight. I think it's almost like there's spokes of a wheel, and each individual spoke kind of represents something. So yes, nutrition, weight is a big part of it, but so is exercise, so is our social relationships, our spiritual relationships, our career. How happy are we with our career? So, then I found a health coaching program with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And it was sort of a similar mindset that it's not just a diet, it's a lifestyle change. And all these factors are part of our lifestyle. And we can't ignore one spoke of the wheel. We have to really kind of look at where we fall. If we're really strong in one area, okay, great. But where do we fit on all these other areas of our life? Absolutely. And I enjoyed it. I love it. I loved educating myself, which was one reason why I kept taking all these certification programs. And I think a lot of moms out there, a lot of women, it's very common to go through imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, well, in the beginning, well, who's going to listen to me? Okay, I've got my little certification. I have my piece of paper. I'm not a nutritionist. Why would someone work with me instead of someone else?
Yeah.
And I kind of had to put those negative thoughts away. It doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do clients any good.
Exactly.
And I said, you know what? I'm just going to start. I'm going to start slow, and I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to learn from my experience. And that's sort of where I am today, where I, have a small group of clients, mostly women, mostly I would say women over 40, that want to improve their wellness. They are sick of the diet roller coaster.
Yeah.
And, I kind of also want to, like I said, I would like to bring this experience into the workplace. I think what we've seen with the pandemic, the level of stress in the workplace is at an all-time high. The good thing is that we're talking about stress a little bit more.
Yeah,
It's not
so true.
so taboo.
Yeah.
Listen, our athletes have been open about mental health. I
Yeah.
mean, these are role models for our kids. So I think it's okay. It's acceptable to talk about stress, to admit that you're stressed. But I think what we need to do is we need to find ways to deal with that. We can't let stress overpower us, especially as women, because if we're stressed, we are going to bring that energy to our children, to our spouse, and to the workplace. So
Absolutely.
I'm just really loving where I am right now. And it feels good that I'm doing something for myself. And at the same time, I'm helping other people.
Yeah, I love that.
So
That's the mother part always. We always care for others as well, isn't it? Always taking care. Even when the own kids getting out of the house, there's still that big heart that needs to do something, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And how did your kids feel and your husband feel or partner feel when you started doing this? Were they proud? Were they curious? Or they just didn't?
A little bit of both. But
okay.
The best thing is when my kids say to me that they're proud of me.
Mm.
I mean, that is the greatest feeling when these young women, they're out there and they're like, and I share things with them. They're like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. This is great. That's the best.
It's the best, isn't it? Yeah, my son is very proud of his mom, who's her own boss. Like the other day, I was talking to someone and the person asked me what I'm doing. And then he said, she's her own boss. Yes, I'm my own boss. And he's getting the entrepreneurial spirit. So he wants to have a pet shop. And he's really like, okay, the pet shop is going to have this, and I'm going to sell these things and the food. And he's already breeding his animals because we've got a little zoo at home. And he's like, okay, Mom, I need to sell. The rabbit is getting too big, Mama. I need to sell it now. How much do I sell it for? It's amazing to see. Like for me, it's so cool. And yeah, exactly. I think even though the work sometimes is hard and overwhelming with, like we initially said, with the homeschooling, and I mean, now it's 9 p.m. and I'm working evenings. But to see that is it's just amazing, like this is what Mom is creating. So exactly. And even like you're doing that at a later stage, like it shows again, it's never too late. You even if you take that time and you focus on the family because that's what you wanted to do, but it's still, you still have the possibilities later, which is so cool.
And I think that we can all pivot, that we don't have a straight road with our path. And the world is changing. I mean, technology is changing so much. I mean, the idea that we can run a business virtually from a screen, it can work. And I mean, again, that maybe was a little silver lining with the pandemic, that a lot of organizations quickly started putting out their virtual programming. And I think people are liking it. We talk about screen fatigue a little bit. I get that. But I don't think that this is going away. I think that there will be constantly virtual online opportunities social, educational, cultural. It's amazing. I get all these emails about museums that are doing these virtual tours,
Yeah.
and even travel. It's come see Greece,
Yeah.
on Sunday at 9 p.m. Why not? It's fascinating. So
Absolutely.
I think there are a lot of opportunities out there, and I think the best thing to do is like just to be aware, like to kind of listen to yourself. What's that inner voice telling you? And then pay attention to what the world is going through.
Yeah.
What's being offered, and just constantly those baby steps. Those baby steps one day will make you ready to do the big leap.
Absolutely.
And that can be scary, but I think we surround ourselves with a support system.
Yeah.
And now our support system, again, it's virtual. There are people out there that want to support other women. We're not competing with each other.
Yeah.
We get more out of supporting each other in some way.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good thing. I mean, we've heard a lot about competition in the
Yes.
workplace, but I think that women like to support other women
Absolutely.
at different stages of their life. I think that people,
Exactly.
they want to sort of keep this momentum going.
Yeah.
And, I think that's what we can,
And I
that's
think
how we
also,
can.
yeah, with the online world, again, it makes it easier to connect exactly to those women. Like, whereas maybe before you were in an office and you only had a certain number of people surrounding you, and maybe there was competition. So you didn't really have that option of finding those women who really support you and cheer you on. But now you can find them on the internet. And, like me and you, we connect through an event, and we would have never, ever met in any other way.
Yeah,
So this is
exactly.
exactly, this is like, okay, maybe there's some difficult situations at work and in other places, but like you said, there is opportunity, and we just have to take that and like be positive as well.
Yeah.
Instead of just yeah, I mean, it can be all doom and gloom very easily, but I think we will get through this somehow. This is, I believe everything in life is temporary in some way. But then let's try to make the most of it. I mean, this is my philosophy. Like, yeah, like I've connected with really, really amazing women through Zoom from my tiny island here, which I never thought it's